Welcome, my children, to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler. I am live in San Francisco, California, the godless San Francisco, California. And I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And down in San Diego, which is only semi-godless, we have Dennis Bithalkis. How are you, Dennis?
It's pretty godless. Trust me.
Or God-forsaken. We're not sure. I hope everybody is having a blessed evening. We are here covering the finale of Preacher. We have ended another season, a 10-episode season, and I do recall in our recaps for season 2, because it was a 13-episode season, how it would be better if it was a 10-episode season.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it has been. We had a good finale to a good season, and let's hope it comes back. We just checked before we went on the air. There is absolutely no word on thank you. Yes, I'm in costume. I'm in the spirit of Preacher. We might be saying some prayers. I only know one, though. It's a serenity prayer. Or, oh God, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. So let's start breaking down this episode, Dennis.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And we got a lot to unpack. And before we start doing this stuff, spoilers, because if you haven't watched the episode now, go back and watch it. Come back. This will be a video. You can actually come back and watch it afterwards. And otherwise, we're just going to spoil the shit out of it. So, and thank you, Viking Bitch.
Yes, it works more. It's a spoiler sign, and it's also a punishment tool, for good or bad.
I'm not going to say.
Sinners. All right. Let's do this. Been a lot of podcasting today.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right.
So we open up with young Jesse praying at his bed there, and he's got a baseball bat laying on the bed. And he goes down to meet Grandma, who's counting money, and she's talking about how good of a night it was and how it's going to get even better because it's Lent. And he says, well, I was wondering if I could take the night off. He goes, really? I want to take a couple days off. I guess I want to go back to Texas, meet this girl that I used to know when I was in, when we were younger. And she says, listen up, you someday piece of shit. And she tells him, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to stay here. And she says, you're just as afraid of killing me like your father was. It's the Custer way. You always do just enough good to outweigh the bad.
Yeah, and he says, you killed my family, and she's all, I did. I shot you. I had your daddy shot. I sucked your mom's soul out. I cut her open.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're just standing here handing out, wine, handing me whiskey like a little girl.
Yeah, and so we see him later on that night drinking whiskey, and who's sitting at the table next to him is Satan.
And when he was praying up before, we backed out of the shot and we saw God.
That's true.
In his room when he was praying right before he went and talked to Grandma.
Yeah, and we see him standing over Grandma with a baseball bat while she's sleeping, and the clock chimes and she wakes up and she goes, do it. Don't be a little girl. Do it. And she goes, you can't do it. And he screams, and basically he puts down the bat, and we see him leave. He goes, I'm leaving. And he leaves, and he's walking down the driveway, and we see young him passing current him walking up the driveway, and current him says, you should have killed her. And he goes, yeah. He goes, well, you do it.
Yeah, now's your chance.
Yep.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Then we see Jesse back, and he's with TC is on him.
Yeah, he walks into the house, and TC brings out the shotgun, and he uses the voice. Jesse uses the voice to stop TC and says, give me the gun. The gun flies to his hand, and TC's just talking about the good old days, and of course Jesse's saying, how many times have you pulled this gun on me, before in the past? And
reminiscing about it like it's good times. It's I've pulled this gun on you before.
And so TC's like, you're not going to kill me. And he goes, you're right. And he goes back the gun. He goes, shoot yourself. Boom. So he shoots himself in the foot and screams. Yeah. And then Jesse runs into Jodi, who's just come back with a briefcase full of souls. He tells him to put the case down. And Jodi's like, you know what? I killed your father. He goes, I figured you're gonna, go the pussy way out, basically, and kill me too. And he goes, nope, we're going to the tombs.
Going to the tombs.
Yeah. So
there's hope for you yet.
Yeah, exactly. There's hope for you yet. And we see Tulip waking up in the overturned bus going to hell. And the Saint of Killers and Sydney get up and they go out to meet Rick Smith and his army.
His shock SS troops or whatever the hell's going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, you notice a couple red hats that were in there too, which I thought was kind of funny that they snuck into the production. So,
so subtle.
Yeah, I know. So they end up fighting. We just hear the battle. We hear people screaming, gunshots, and we see Hitler trying to get out of the bus, trying to climb out the window. And Eugene's like, no, you don't. And he grabs him, pulls him down, and they start fighting. In the meantime, Tulip gets up and she pulls the wiper blade out of the side of the bus driver who's dead. And we see some Nazis are inside the bus. And she starts fighting with one of the Nazis and starts kicking some ass with, he's got a baton. She's got the windshield wiper. And at one point, it looks like she's going to, get choked out there. And she gets his gun and his knife, stabs him. And there's two more guys that are standing there with their guns drawn. And she's like, shit. And all she has is the knife in her hand. Or so we think.
Yeah.
And then
she takes a shot. She's got her Luger.
She got the Luger, and she shoots both of them and kills them. Then we go back over to the Saint of Killers, and we see him and Sydney just are ripping apart the army. I mean, they are literally, she's got her whip out, and she's deflecting bullets, and she's taking off heads and arms and whatnot. He's got a gun from one of the guys that he's killed. He's just shooting people up with a gun. And I mean, there's blood flying everywhere. And once they're done, Sydney goes over to the Saint Killers. She goes, so how about your daughter? You think the crows pecked her eyes out after she was dead or while she was still alive, laying there? And just basically won't leave it alone, just picking at him.
Just rubbing it in.
Yeah. And he's pretty pissed at this point. So you go back and see Eugene punching out Hitler because, at one point he's got Hitler down and he's got something above his eye. Like he's getting ready to punch through him.
Hilter. We'll say Hilter.
Yeah. Hilter. And Hilter says, what would Jesus do? And that's when Eugene punches him out, knocks him out. And just at that point, we see a tank come over and run over the Saint of Killers. And he's cut in half.
He's cut in half. Yeah. So, and he's trying to get to something at the bottom that says Achtung, so stop. So there's some kind of fuel tank or something like that. And he's blowing on his knife or whatever to heat it up. Yep.
Yeah. And we see that Eugene and Tulip have escaped the bus and they're trying to make a run for it. And Eugene trips because of the damn boots that he's wearing. And of course, Sydney catches up to them and says, where are you going? You're kind of pretty. And I don't want to have to mess up those features of yours.
Yeah.
And that's when the tank shoots a gigantic shell at them and everything freezes.
Yes. And
we see God.
And God shows up.
And God says, see, I am a loving God.
I'm a loving and merciful God.
Yeah. So that's what he's telling to Tulip, because Tulip is the only one that can see him.
Yeah, and he pulls her away and he starts talking to her.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet. So we go back to the Children of Blood. That's when we cut over to the Children of Blood, and they look upset when Icarus comes into the kitchen. And he says, perhaps there's still hope for Cassidy yet. I'm going to go down and talk to him. And he goes down to talk to Cass, who's joining him. And even shows him this unicorn pipe that he bought him.
I saw a unicorn once. Yeah, you told me.
And so he gives him the option. He goes, you can either burn or you can join me. That's what he leaves him with. So you go back to Tulip and God talking, and he's pulled her away at this point. And he says that he's going to lift the O'Hare curse and that the O'Hare name is going to be blessed from now on.
Yep. But she has to do one thing, and that's basically get Jesse off his tail.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mess with his grand design, which is the apocalypse.
Yeah. He's got something going on right now and doesn't want Jesse interfering with with Genesis. And she turns down his forgiveness and basically says, I've been doing fine without you for this long. She goes, I don't need it. And he says, free will. She goes, yeah, free will's a bitch, isn't it? She goes, yeah. And free will also has its consequences.
Yeah, it has the consequences. And
And
he starts
says,
bringing up Cassidy.
Cassidy's in danger.
Yep.
Because I was going to show you where he's at.
It's a nice
But
shot of your elbow there, Dennis.
sorry about there. I had to switch pages there. She goes, yeah, Cassidy's in danger. I was going to show you where he was, but since you don't need my help, nah. And she says, you're a dick as she walks away, and he goes, thank you. You're welcome.
Yes, right.
And then we have some weird woman just kind of walking the screen for a second, and he says, yeah, I see you. Give me a sec.
Well, that was the girl that was on his motorcycle. So
Really?
yeah, that was the girl that was sitting in the background on his motorcycle. That was just his latest
Latest
girlfriend.
incarnation? Yeah. Okay. Because it was just weird. They didn't have any context to that one. It just seemed really kind of weird. That's all.
Every time he's shown up, he's had a different girlfriend on the bike. So
okay.
Going through his midlife crisis. He's got his earring. He's got his dog suit, his Harley,
Yeah.
Typical midlife crisis.
So we see time restart, and the shell deflects actually and hits the bus. And at this point, the Santa killer sticks his heated knife into the gas tank, exploding the tank. And and walks over to Sydney, who starts apologizing. She goes, maybe
it basically resets the Santa killer. He's cut in half. So if he dies, he'll just get come back, new avatar. And she starts apologizing, and he
pushed a little too far about the crows and the eyes and everything. So
he rips her eyes out.
Yeah, he rips her eyes out. We can hear it, but we don't see it.
No.
And he tells Eugene it's time to go. And Eugene says, well, what about Tulip? Being a little weasel that he is. And he looks around, doesn't see her, and goes, well, guess it's her lucky day. Flips the bus back over, and they're on the way back to hell.
Yep.
Yeah. So Jodi and Jesse are down in the tombs fighting it out, and TC gets to announce it there. And he goes, I always wanted to say this. He goes, welcome, you miserable goat humpers.
A little projection there, TC.
Yeah.
So, and this is a brutal fight. This is a really good fight. The fight scenes in the show are excellent. The Tulip fight in the bus was pretty awesome. It's okay. Listen, it's hard to buy. I mean, little Ruth Nega, about 5'3", kicking the shit out of people. But if you shoot it right, it looks good. And they had her like flying around inside the bus and doing all these little superhero moves. So it was pretty cool. But the Jesse and Jodi fight, which this kind of gets done in the comic too, and it's all about there's one day Jesse's gonna beat Jodi, and this was the day.
Yeah, and so he hits he's down at one point, and he finds a board with nails in it and hits Jesse right in the face. Jodi, Jesse hits Jodi right in the face, and so Jodi pulls the board out, and he's like, well, that was different.
No, the fight gets really brutal, and it ends up with, of course, a chain.
We cut again because we keep cutting back and forth between scenes at this point. So we go back to Carius, telling he's laying Cassidy down off the pool table, and he goes upstairs and says he's repented, he's changed his ways, and he says who wants to volunteer to fly, and that's when Mima raises her hand. Yes. She wants to do it. And I love how actually Cassidy at one point says, Jesus, it's going to be days before I can masturbate properly.
Yep.
He goes, well, you want some squirrel blood? And he goes, I don't want your goddamn squirrel blood. And that's when they decide to bring Mima down, and she's going to be the sacrifice. So we go back to the beating in the tombs, and Jodi's just beating the shit out of Jesse. And Jesse drops his dad's lighter on the ground. And he knocks Jesse down pretty good, and Jesse's bell is rung, and he looks down and he sees the lighter, and he goes, I took this off your dad when I killed him.
Yep. And they finally show
reminiscing.
Yeah, we see the shot. We've always seen the tattoo of the hand that shot his dad, and we backs up and we see Jodi. And this is starting to look like series finale kind of stuff. I was starting to get that vibe, like maybe we're not going to get a season 4 because they're really wrapping a lot of shit up. But things change, so it's cool.
Yeah, so Jesse ends up finding a chain and hits Jodi a couple times in the face with it and wraps it around his throat. and then starts smashing his head against the wall. I mean, just literally swinging his head into the wall. And then he gets his hands on his head and starts smashing it even further. And Jodi's down. He's basically dead. And TC looks at him and goes, well, I guess today was the day.
Day was the day. Pancaked his head. It was bad.
And tells TC to go get 2 cans of gasoline. He goes, 2 cans? He goes, go get them. And so he goes taking off. And just as he turns around and lights a cigarette, we hear the chains clink, and Jodi gets up and he goes, that was good. And
proud of you, boy.
Proud of you, boy. Yeah.
Then he passes
goes
out.
Straight down. Yeah, he's dead at this point. So we go back to Carius and Cassidy, and they've got Mima down on the pool table there, and she's laying down, and Carius is, Cassidy asks, he goes, you want to do a little menage a trois about both of us at the same time? At first it's like, no, you. And then they go, oh, how about both of us together? Mima, do you have any objections to that? She goes, no, not at all. That sounds good. And he's leaning over her. He realizes something's weird. Carius realizes something's weird.
Sees a bite in her neck. Yeah.
He sees a bite in her neck. And that's when everyone grabs him and pins him to the pool table, actually. And they crucify his hands to the side. And he tries changing a different animal.
See the animal like the hoof and a wing, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And of course, he can't get free. And at this point, we find out that Cassidy had turned Mima. Actually, she had called all 87 people that had been turned.
He asks, you called 87 people. How many answers did you get? None. Yeah. And then he turned her, and she turned everybody else.
Yeah. Exactly. And they basically end up killing Carius.
Yeah, but they said, Carius is, what are you gonna do now? And he's like, well, and Cassidy gets badass. He's like, it's dinner time, and they feed on him.
Yeah,
and that's it for him.
And Jesse is going to burn the tombs out there. He's got TC spilling gasoline all over Jodi's body and all over the tombs. And TCS, aren't you going to kill me? And he goes, no, I don't hate you that much. Which is best that Jesse's going to give him. And he goes, come on, let's go. And TC's like, no. He goes, you know what? I know Angelville's an evil place. And he goes, I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah. This is where, I got nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
So Jesse says goodbye and sets him on fire. Sets the rest of it on fire. And I love this part with the texting.
Yeah.
Start walking out.
I do love the texting. Yeah. Because, Tulip is saying that she's going to get Cass, and she goes, what are you up to? And he goes, I'm going to go kill grandma.
You see a little thumbs up.
You see a little pause as someone's like, texting, and then it's the little thumbs up. Which is awesome. And so Jesse goes to confront grandma and brings the case.
The case of souls.
The case of souls, yeah. It says, my debt's fulfilled. And she goes, no, no, it's not. We're not done yet. And he goes, say it's, use the voice and says, say my debt's fulfilled. And she does, and that burns up his little handkerchief.
Yep.
And then he says, release Tulip.
And she pukes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And then she informs him, she goes, you know what, if you kill me, she goes, I made a new deal with my gentleman caller, as she calls him, which is Satan. If you kill me, when you die, your soul goes straight to hell. I'm going to heaven. Even after all the shit that she's done, she's still going to heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jesse just feels perplexed at this point. And, she's even telling him, she's like, listen, you won.
Yeah. And he says, but you did too.
But you did too. Yeah. 100 more years. But honestly, he could just walk away at this point. But Angelville would always be in the back of his head like a bad dream, he said. Yeah,
he's actually in the truck getting ready to leave. And his younger self is in the car, and he goes, it's never going to be over with her.
Yeah. He's all, I did win. But how come it doesn't feel like it? And he's all, fuck this, and goes back.
Yeah. And so he forces her to burn all the souls in the case. Actually, he had done that before. I take that back. I used the voice to throw all the souls into the fire so she didn't have those. And when he goes back, he actually sticks her into the soul sucking machine and turns it on and just leaves her there to turn to dust.
Yep. So they touch on some comic stuff. I mean, they're mixing in a couple stories here, but it's been pretty good. It's been pretty damn good.
Yeah, and I just want to go back. I love Cassidy's shirt, Nixon now more than ever.
Yeah.
I actually want one of those because it just made me laugh every time I saw it. So he's back sitting on the throne, and we see the outline of Icarius's body with dust because they use the sun to get rid of his body. And they're like, well, what do we do now? He goes, well, maybe get a dustbuster, clean up, and maybe a couple of rags to soap up some of the blood. Some sponges to soak up some of the blood. And they're like, no.
What do we do?
Yeah, what do we do? And he goes, oh, you're bored. You're vampires now.
Yep.
So do what you want to do. I'm going to get high. You want to come and get high with me? And that's when Hoover
comes back. Everybody's like, hey, Hoover's back.
Tulip calls him. Tulip calls Cassidy as Hoover is walking in. And when he says, oh, Hoover's back, and she goes, Hoover? He goes, yeah, he's a vampire now.
He's cool now.
Yeah.
And he starts getting all emotional that she had called him, and he's remembering like his friends. He's like, you know, because it sounded like he was just going to go off on his own when he was talking to Icarius, but now he got reminded right there. There's still a couple people who give a shit about him. He started getting a little emotional. And she's all, Cass, what's the matter? He's all, nothing. I'm fine. We'll see you in a bit. We're cool. And she asked if he was in danger because God had alluded to him being in danger, and he was. We just didn't know what danger.
Yeah, and so he's talking to Hoover. Actually, Tulip gets really upset that Hoover is there, and she starts driving faster after he hangs up. And Hoover starts saying, yeah, he goes, I went back to the Grail. He goes, I thought everything would be the same, but it wasn't. And he goes, I'm back.
And the benefits weren't that great anyway.
Yeah, the benefits weren't all that great anyway. And he goes, I want to give you a gift. And he gives Cassidy an umbrella, and he goes, why don't you open it? And Cassidy's like, I think it's bad luck in the house.
You missed the part where he's like, I'm about to get high and listen to Nickelback. You want to come over here?
Yeah. and Hoover's like, no, you might want to open it now. And we hear all this ripping, and we see some sunlight starting to stream into the basement there. And that's when he opens it up, and we hear like a lot of sounds of just ripping and a lot of sunlight.
Hell breaks loose. This is a great way to get around of not having the budget to show this scene. So all we saw was Cassidy in his umbrella, and we just hear the roof getting ripped off of the house. We see the sunlight coming down. We hear, I think, gunfire. We hear
people screaming,
things going up in flames. We saw a couple of bodies as they're burning out. And when it's all said and done, it's just him and Hoover standing there, and the Grail had showed up.
Yeah. And he goes, I lied. He goes, I still work for him. The benefits are really good because I couldn't leave. And
he gets the trank dart in his neck again.
Dart in his neck, and he goes, I eat tranks for breakfast, right? And he goes, yeah, I told them that. He goes, whale tranquilizer.
And he's all,
that's pretty good. He goes down. And then we get a shot at, we see a couple of Humperdoos walking down the street.
We see all the helicopters flying away, and it's got the whole fucking house, and then it falls, and then we see a couple of Humperdoos just Humperdoo.
Yeah,
shiny.
And we see Tulip. She shows up to the house and just sees the hole in the ground, but there's two coffins that are down there.
Yeah, I was very happy to see this.
Yes, and Mima and her grandson are still alive. They took refuge in the coffins. They're like, yeah, some guy in a white suit and some woman took Cassidy. And she goes, God,
Yep.
She knows that God is still out there fucking with them to make them, basically using it as distraction so they don't go looking for God at this point.
Yep. Then we're down in hell with hell.
Yeah, with Eugene talking to Satan about calling God. He goes, you guys used to be friends, right? He goes, just call him up and apologize. That's all you got to do.
He goes, I now know what my mission is.
Yeah. I know what my purpose is.
It's clear what my purpose is. You should just talk to God. Call him. Yeah. And Satan smacks him.
Yeah, he's agreeing with him at first. He's like, hey, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah. Bump, and he gives him a pop in the face, and he goes, I know what my purpose is too.
He makes fun out. He tells, I purpose.
Yeah.
And Satan Killer didn't like that.
No,
Killer's kind of likes Eugene.
Yeah, he's like, he doesn't deserve that. And he goes, he deserves got nothing to do with that,
He's like, we're just kidding around. We're just talking. It's all good.
And so Satan says, "You did good." He goes, "You brought both of these guys back." And he goes, I got a reward for you. So in comes this little tray with his guns that have all the stamp marks on it still from when Tulip dumped him um,
Yep.
in the mailbox. And the tray actually bumps into Satan. He's like, "What the?" And he looks over, and Sydney's got her eyes ripped out. He goes, "I'm not even going to ask, but I'm going to assume she deserved what happened."
She had that coming. That's bad.
So he gives the Santa Killers both his guns and his saber back. And at that point, Santa Killers pulls out his gun and points it at Satan. He goes, "I know you just didn't pull a gun on me in my own place." And Santa
Yeah, how dare
Killers
you
says,
pull a gun on the Prince of Darkness?
"Yeah." And he goes, "Whose idea was it with the crows and my daughter?" And
I was
Satan
in on the meeting. I wasn't there,
and he finally says it was God. It was
Yeah.
God. It was God's idea. And the Santa Killers and he goes, "Yeah, you can put the gun away. We can talk about this." And Santa Killer's like, "No, we can't."
We also missed the whole synergy thing. Is like, what's the before all this started? Satan asked him, like, "What's this? Who's this preacher you're
That's
going
right.
after?"
Yeah.
And he's all Jesse Custer. Then Eugene hears that after almost getting his knocked out, and he's all, "I love the synergy. I've got some business with him too. Once he
Yeah.
dies, because his power comes down here. Yeah."
Yeah.
Then we fast forward back to the Santa Killers pointing the gun at Satan and pops him.
Yeah. Kills him, shoots him in the head, and
Little
kills
bats
Satan.
fly out of his head, and yeah.
Yeah. And he turns to Eugene and he goes, "Come on, we're going. We're leaving." And Hitler's like, "Okay, great, we're gonna go." And he goes, "No, you're not you, just him." And so they're walking out, and
And Hilter
goes behind the desk.
rightful place.
Yeah. And we have Sydney saying, "Would you like a plum cake, my lord?"
Yeah.
Yes, with extra flaky crust.
The flaky crust. And yeah.
So they're walking out of hell.
Get rid of one, yeah, just replace it with another. See,
Yeah, and they're walking out of hell, and Eugene says to the Santa Killers, he goes, "Is this the same preacher that sent me to hell?" He goes, "The one didn't even bother looking for me," which he doesn't know that
the one that left
Jesse
me
did
here.
try. Yeah, the one that left me here. He goes, "I'm in," because I'll help you.
Yep.
Because he's pissed at this point. So we have Tulip picking up Jesse from in front of Angelville there. She swings by and picks him up. And then we go over to Masada.
Okay, I want to talk about this scene real quick. All right,
Sure.
so we know that Ruth Nega and Dominic Cooper were an item, and now they are no longer an item.
Yeah.
And in this scene, and this didn't take away from it. Maybe it's just in the back of my head, but they used to have a really good chemistry, those two. That's what really worked about the show. This scene, ice cold. Ice freaking cold. I didn't get any feeling like that at all. And that's all I could think about was like, they can't stand each other. So, because that was supposed to be a scene where like the two lovers are back after like going on their adventures and they both survived and they just should be really fucking happy to see each other. And nope. And I don't think that was part of the script, but that's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I hopefully they can work past it. They're professionals. But our next scene is in Masada.
Yeah, Masada. We've got Cassidy in a hole, deep in a hole, chained there. And he hears flapping and he looks up and he sees an angel shackled above him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have Herr Star talking to Hoover.
Did they mention that angel before?
No. Well, kind of in passing.
I think they did.
Yeah, but they didn't say who it was.
I'm wondering. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's Genesis' daddy.
Could be. Could very well be. So Herr Star and Hoover are standing on a parapet there, and they're talking about what's going on. And he says, "Are you mocking me with that hat?" And he goes, "No, sir. I'm a vampire." He goes, "I need this in order to survive." He goes, "I didn't know you were serious about that." And he pulls the hat off of Hoover's head, and Hoover just lights on fire, screaming. And he kills Hoover right then and there. And at that point, Featherstone walks in, and she sees Hoover, dying. And he goes, "What happened here, sir?"
That's so messed up. Way I thought you were joking.
Yeah, I thought you were
about
joking.
the vampire thing, and his death was slow. It sucked to see Hoover die like that. Featherstone walks in.
Yeah.
We're going to need a new Hoover.
Yes, we're going to need to do Hoover. And she goes, "Oh, the quest for world domination begins," is what Featherstone says. And we pull back and we see the armies gathering. They have helicopters,
Well,
they have planes.
they
And
have everything, and
yeah,
he doesn't want Jesse to be the Messiah anymore.
yeah, he's going to kill Jesse. He
I'm going to
wants,
kill him, and and she's all, the chess game of world domination begins. He's all, we're not playing chess anymore. We're playing some motherfucking checkers. And that's it. Hoover hat. Yeah, so much for that Hoover hat, Mary Ashmead. It was funny for the 2 seconds before he died. And Herr Star is going to play some motherfucking checkers. And that's the end of season 3.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty damn good. That was a pretty funny episode, and they really cranked it up again this season. And it looks like if there's a 4th season, it's going to be nuts. And I am looking forward to it. If we see it, there has been no word as of yet.
Yeah, and they're going to have to up the budget just a little bit if they want to end this thing properly.
Well, that's I'm wondering if we just get like a movie or something. Like we
possibly
just get like a 4 episode thing or something. You think they would have announced it by now, whether it's getting a season 4 or not. So I don't know if anybody else has heard anything. I did like seconds of research before we started our live stream. And any predictions for season 4? If we get one, Jodi, I predict. There's a couple of storylines.
The end of the world.
It's gonna be. They're gonna they're gonna do the last part of the series. So which does wrap up with I'm not gonna say too much here. There'll be a ton of spoilers, but it wraps up. The comic series wraps up tightly at the very end. There is a definitive ending to this, that they have moved their way. The chess pieces or checker pieces have moved to where they could end it like that. I mean, you're skipping a ton of good shit, but I don't see it going past season 4.
No, I don't either. Yeah,
I wish it would.
Harley's little sister, she said she was confused. Hoover's hands were bare, and so the sun does not burn them. He has pockets, so he just had his hands in his pockets.
I don't think this show plays it kind of fast and loose. Part of the sister. So I mean that's a good point, because his hands were, I think, floating around, and there would have been some.
We see Cassidy all the time with his hands bare, and he's walking around with the umbrellas and all that kind of stuff, and he's not burning. So
yeah. And let's get up in the chat. And Harley's little sister, I think season 4 does probably depend on Nega and Cooper. Cooper is a producer, executive producer on the show. Mm-hmm. We also have the creators doing another show. I think they will. They were dating for 8 years before they broke up. So I mean, that's forever in Hollywood terms.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm going through the chat here for a moment, and I'm back near the beginning, so we're there. They're talking about Doomcock's copyright strike. So
yes, well, that was the live stream I was on. I can talk about this real quick. We made a major announcement, and so I was on Doomcock's live stream with Tom from Midnight's Edge and Mecha Random 42 and Doomcock, and we announced the tribunal. We're going to be doing it's an homage to the High Council that EVS does with World Class Bullshitters and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. And Doomcock's actually been on that show quite a bit, and they're buddies. So this is kind of a Star Trek version of that. It's going to be a lot of fun. The crappy thing is that was a really long and fun live stream, and Doomcock sang a song, and it was too good, and he got a copyright strike, and he sang it really well. And it hit the algorithm or flagging. He's going to be able to fight it, and it'll be back up in a day or two, probably.
Movie Fanobi says Tulip was right. God had conditions. That's the reason why she didn't accept it, because of the conditions. And Mary Ashmead says Cassidy is in big trouble now, but I think that was an angel blocking the sun from Cass. Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah. It probably isn't. I'm just curious to see what angel that is. It probably just is maybe a throwaway angel. They did talk about having an angel imprisoned or something.
Yeah. They did, but we don't know.
Oh, and they Hoover talked about getting like his expert torturer for Jesse.
Yes, I actually had that written down. His name is
It's like
Frankie Toscani.
yeah, some Italian name. Frankie, you
He's
think
coming
like
in
the
from
biggest organization in the world gets like some, gangster from the East Coast.
yeah, he's
That's
coming in
great.
from Jersey. Of course, he's getting flown in.
I really felt for Jesse. What a brilliant episode. Cass was brilliant. Yeah, Cass was, I would say, MVP of this episode. He was great. His little misadventure really turned out well. I like that a lot.
Robert M says, I have my doubts that even World War II tanks did not have fuel tanks exposed.
Yeah. They play it really fast and loose on this show.
Well, they weren't really attention to detail people, as Sydney pointed out. He goes, I'm with the SS. She goes, well, why are you wearing a Luftwaffe pin?
Yep.
Because it's a branch of the
Yeah, so maybe they had some kind of show tank or something like that. I have no idea what that tank was. You guys would know more than me on that stuff. But that's what I kind of like about the show. It's not grounded at all. It feels very much like the comic book. It's still very different. It's hard to explain. It has the vibe of the comic book, for lack of a better term. But the character, I mean, even Jesse, even Dominic Cooper is not Jesse from the comic books at all. Jesse is a little more manly. Dominic Cooper is way too pretty to be Jesse, basically. Jesse's not pretty. He's kind of like a gruff guy. He's tall, has kind of a mullety, 90s goth hairstyle. Yeah, you got to go look at the art. It's cool. Steve Dillon, late great Steve Dillon.
Moo Finobi says Jesse and Jodi with the chain reminded me of John McClane with the big Viking terrorist. With Hans. Yes,
with Hans Gruber.
No, excuse me. Hans Gruber was the
that was the main guy. The other guy, the guy from Witness.
Yes,
the one who he eventually killed himself in real life.
Alexander Goodenough. No, he died of a flu, of pneumonia.
I thought he committed suicide. He just died of being sick.
He died of pneummonia. Yeah, it was really sad. He was actually a dancer. He was a ballet dancer. Yep. Alexander Goodenough. Yes, nice guy from what I understand. He was actually in Money Pit as well, which is one of my favorites. He plays.
My God, that's a great movie.
Yeah. You are shallow and self-centered. You will never get over it. I am shallow and self-centered. I can forget about it. You, on the other hand, are deep and complex. It will never get over it. It will break you. This is turning out to be a good day. I love that line.
Yeah.
Viking. Sorry about that. Mary Ashmead says Jodi is dead, Grandma is dead, and Hitler is the new devil. What the fuck?
Yes. That's well, you never know. We saw it. Well, I think they're dead. I think they're going to move on from the Angelville story, but it ended where it ended. So
and
there's more to come. There's more characters and stuff.
I saw some people saying that even though we saw Grandma's soul get sucked out, that we've seen people without souls before, and that they don't die. Jesse burned the house down too.
Yeah, they're not bringing them back.
Yeah.
There are characters that come back. There's one in particular from season 1 that does come back. I don't know if they can get him though. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
He says Grandma destroying souls is a reminder that crime and soul bank robbery doesn't pay.
It doesn't. It never does. But it buys you some time. I mean, she lived a really horrible long life that looked miserable as hell. Yeah.
It was Silhouetted Animator who said, I think Grandma may not be dead. No, she's dead. Because we saw at the end there, he had the tanks of gasoline and he was painting the house. We actually saw the plume of smoke too coming up. They just didn't have the budget to actually do fire tricks.
And you don't need to. I mean, that's unnecessary. You don't need to show a house burning down, and maybe it didn't. We don't know. I'm pretty sure she's dead, though.
Yeah, we saw the big black plume of smoke coming up. So
it's comic books, Dennis. Don't ever. I mean, like don't make those assumptions.
We saw her look like a corpse, though, too. So
Steve Rogers, man. We saw an autopsy on Steve Rogers in the Civil War series, and the one after that. And
true. Yeah, movie Finobi. Black lipstick equals kiss of death for Hoover.
Yes. Oh my God, that's that thing I never did. Thank God. I did some eyeliner back in the 80s, but no black lipstick.
Only time I did black lipstick was when I dressed up as a crow one year. That was it, and that's because you needed that for the crow. Yeah,
What year were you the Crow?
it was back in the 90s.
90s.
Yeah, back when it was,
90s.
it was a thing to do. So, Slurmy Scott says God created man because he was tired of being alone, or man created God because he fears death. Well,
That's deep, Slurmy. Way too deep for us.
exactly.
Just kidding.
Viking,
Who knows? Who knows? That's the kind of stuff we all ponder up until the day we die.
a Viking bitch says, I wonder how many Humperdoos are left. One was hit by a car. Yeah, they're out there, and like we were speculating last episode, the real Humperdoo out there, the one with the DNA shot in him, is going to come back at some point in time.
Oh, most definitely. And that's why they pointed it out. I don't know how many there were, but yeah, he'll end up surviving.
Yeah.
Because amidst all that, he is still somewhat related to Jesus. So, some miracles will happen.
You know how they can find him fairly easily is by playing the music and having him tap dance.
I thought they all did that.
No, it was just him. He was the only one they were training. Yeah, the rest
it's just a copy. Yeah, I don't know how that works. It depends.
Yeah, because they were only training him because they.
Okay, we're breaking down the science of preacher here. Yeah, I don't know.
Silhouette Animator says, I got chills from that viewer discretion title card before the final scene. I knew they were going to show Satan's death.
Yeah, I did notice that too. That that was weird. I like that. The bats flying out of his head was awesome.
Yeah.
But no, Jodi's head getting crushed was kind of hard to watch, even though it was Jodi and he's an asshole.
Yeah, it was kind of weird though too, because at first the CGI kind of got dodgy at points where it looked like his head was flattened, and then it was going back to normal again. Then it was flattened.
It was supposed to. Yeah, it was supposed to be going boing boing. I thought that was part of the aesthetic.
No,
yeah,
it was weird. It was just really weird. I don't know for me, but
I thought it was part of the art. This is not grounded in anything. That's part of that's why it's cool. It's slick. It's artistic. I like it.
Philip A. Demick says no sympathy for the devil.
Please allow me to introduce myself. R.I.P. Satan. Says Minha. Yes.
Hilter, the new Satan. This can't be good, is what Viking Bitch says.
No, but I want to see that happen. I think that would be lots of fun.
Yeah.
In the show sense, by the way.
And Viking Bitch also says that would be hard to work closely with your divorced spouse, talking about the Ruth and Ega. And
tell me about it.
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's some time, if they took a couple years or something like that, totally understand. But man, if you're fresh off it and then you have to go back to work, it's man.
Okay, let's see here.
Especially if you're bringing like new girlfriends or boyfriends around, and yeah, that doesn't get murky and weird.
I guess Johnny left. Sorry about
that. Mary and Mary says Masada, the angel, was blocking the sun. I think it was Genesis' daddy. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that what sucks is they've shown all these flashbacks, and you remember in the first season they tried to make it look like a 50s movie, so they showed the birth of Genesis like a 50s movie, like really bad special effects, and I kind of wish they would have shown what they did in the comic. So we've gotten this far, so you see the conception of Genesis, and it's pretty interesting. They could have done that in some animated style or something.
Actually, Mary Ashby brings up a good point. Where's the love potion at?
Did he get rid of it? I thought he got rid of it.
No, he picked it up when he was fighting down the tombs. Remember, he dropped it, then he grabbed it and stuffed it back in his pocket, and then he walked out in the Tauntaun suit to get out. And now we don't know where it's at now at this point. If he still has it or what.
Minha says, R.I.P. Hoover. Yeah, I think that's I can't remember that. Please correct us in the comments if you all remember. I guess I could go back and check. It could very well pop up in season 4. That'd be interesting. Yeah, we can't have all 3 of them getting along for any long spurts of time. So something has to throw a monkey wrench in that.
Sorry, I was just reading some Halloween related stuff there. Mary Ashby said blood went everywhere and bats flew out of his eyes, and Jodie's head got crushed the best.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird hearing that people are cheering that.
Jodie's singing Sympathy for the Devil in there. Right on.
Silhouette Animator says we need a comic accurate demon mom if it's not too surreal or expensive.
I think they could do that's the kind, if it's just even with costuming. They try to get too fancy with CG, and it's like, go back to costuming. Practical costuming is fine. I love that.
I like the practical hooves that they had on Satan tonight. That wasn't CG. That was practical.
The 80s aesthetic right now is a trend. All right. So, I mean, like kids, are doing like little independent films, and they're putting like tracking. That's a filter now. The VHS tracking and So like what was huge in the 80s and 80s horror and stuff. Just think Nightbreed is costuming. Like it was badass. Tim, and Satan, doesn't he give you a little bit of a Tim Curry legend kind of feel? A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Which was some of the best costuming ever. So
I like the downturned ears,
Yeah,
those are actually kind of cool. Movie Finobi says it was hard to watch Jodie's head have a blind date with concrete. Glad his dad was avenged though.
Yeah. That was brutal. And it was weird. The whole relationship between Jodi was kind of had a fatherly relationship with Jesse, even though he killed his father.
Yeah.
I mean, why they kept the kid around,
because he brought in people. They were saying that once he left, because he was really good at.
Well, he was normal.
Yeah,
they were not. Yeah.
Well, he was also a good grifter. That's what it was. He was really good at, suckering people in.
Brad Noble says, I'm thinking Chet from Weird Science. You're stewed, buttwad.
How about a nice greasy pork sandwich
served in a dirty ashtray?
I love this, that whole Bill Paxton.
R.I.P. Bill Paxton. God, too young.
Yeah. Silhouetted Animator says, I was a little disappointed we didn't get the burn line from Jesse.
Yep. Yeah. Well, there was they could use that again. Silhouetted Animator. They've kind of looped around on some stuff. But folks, if you haven't, I think I've mentioned this quite a bit. Get the graphic novels for this. This is one of the greatest graphic novel series ever written. It's Garth Ennis, Steve Dillon. And if you love the show, the comics are infinitely better. The source material is so good. Not saying the show's bad. It's just this is solid source material. It's comic book history. Check it out. Definitely go to a library, check out your digital, whatever you need to do. Just give the first one a read. You will love it. You will be hooked.
So we're near the end of the, we're caught up now in the chat here. So I was going to answer one. Minha says, did they bring back God? Yes, they did.
They did.
So Jasper Seho says, can you guys please do the Sinner since this is done? Got heavyweights like Bill Pullman and Carrie Coon.
The Sin, I watched the first one and I meant to get to it. We were just going to do a premiere. What night is it premiere on? Yeah, if we can get caught up, we can probably continue it. I saw the first episode and it was great. It was really, really good. I just didn't pick it up because we weren't covering it. I try not to cover stuff or watch stuff we're not covering because I just don't have time. But we might have an opening. I think that's a possibility. I'll say a possibility.
Sorry, I was just laughing. Brad Noble says, got the run, suck it losers. And Viking Mitch replied, sorry to hear you have the runs, Brad. That's a great response. And yes, Philip Ademic, I did. He says off topic, but the guy from 12 Monkeys, basically the lead, James Cole, was on Fear the Walking Dead tonight. Yeah, I saw that, and I was kind of, and also the guy in the wheelchair is Lieutenant Laredo from Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
Who I didn't realize.
Talking about a show we're not covering.
I know. I'm sorry, but I didn't realize he actually was really paralyzed from the waist down. Who knew? He from a motorcycle accident in 2001. And he really is in a wheelchair. Yeah, I was
sorry.
like,
Thanks.
shit. No, I just want to see him acting. That's all.
Yeah, it's nice.
But The Sinner is on Wednesdays, what Penn Farm Girl says.
Yeah, we'll check it out. We'll see. We'll see. We're seeing our wonderful patrons here.
Yes. And Michael DeBradley says, you guys need to watch The Innocents on Netflix. Okay. We've got so much stuff that we're watching, Michael. It's really kind of hard to start picking up new stuff, unfortunately.
I'll take a peek at it. That's why I have my notebook here. Don't want to miss a gem. You never know. You never know. Yes. Preacher's over. That sucks. It was a great episode. It was a great season. I'm probably going to pick this up on Blu-ray when it's out. And we will be like the minute we hear something as far as the season 4, we'll come on and do a video or do something. We'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
Was that the wrong Patreon video? Did I hit the wrong one, Movie Finobi? Yeah, I got to get rid of that other video. Oh well. Don't worry, nobody watches those anyway.
Man. So yeah, so I'm gonna start thanking people in the chat here. And thank you, Movie Finobi, Mary Ashmead, Viking Bitch, Silhouetted Animator, Penn Farm Girl, Min Ha, Michael DeBradley, Brad Noble, even though you have the runs, Jasper Seho, Philip A. Demick. Who else do we have here that was in here? Johnny Pappas, who was in here earlier and had to leave. We also have a couple other people. I already said Jodi. And Tarka Jedi. Tarka Jedi was in here as well. And I think Mary Ashmead, I said. Penn Farm Girl, I said. Slurmy Scott. I knew Slurmy was in there that I had missed. And Mecha Random 42.
What's up, Mecha Random? I didn't see her in there.
Patrick Star 21. And Harley's little sister. That's right.
Thanks for popping in. So yeah, Sunday's opened up for us. So we'll see. Thanks, Movie Fino. We appreciate it. Preacher, great season, great hosts. Thank you. $1.99
nice.
Super chat.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Also, one of you in there had a birthday a couple days ago, and I have neglected to bring it up. So Viking Bitch, happy birthday.
Oh, that's
happy
right.
Late birthday. I'm sorry. I had it on my notes.
Birthday.
Yes. So the great Viking Bitch, check out her channel. She has a YouTube channel where she does some pretty amazing art. Viking Bitch is a pretty amazing person. It was nice to talk to her today in the Patreon video. Nice to talk to Movie Finobi. We had a little Patreon chat. So that was fun. And if you join up on our Patreon for $1 or up, we do a bi-weekly hangout chat. We're going to do more of those. Those are a lot of fun. I dig those a lot. Our next show will be, I'm thinking of it right now, is tomorrow is Better Call Saul. I also have the Nerdrotic Nooner at 12:30. That's my solo live stream. And then
Castle Rock.
Tuesday night is Castle Rock. And then Venture Brothers, it's whenever it drops. It could be Friday, it could be Saturday, it could be Sunday, whenever they feel like putting it on Adult Swim. And if I had a couple people in there, and I'm trying to mention it, and we both try to mention this at the beginning of the recap for Venture Brothers. Adult Swim is free. You don't have to have a cable outlet or anything. You can go see it. So just check it every once in a while. Usually on between Friday and Sunday, they drop the episode. So.
Yeah, and they have an app too, not just their website, but if you go and like I have the Amazon Fire TV, and they have an app for that, and all the seasons are on there. So all the seasons of Venture Brother are on there. You don't need to log into anything. You don't need a provider or a service provider. It's free. You just go in and watch episodes. It's one of the few apps that actually has that. I'm kind of surprised.
Viking Bitch says, thanks, guys. I'm officially old now. No, you are not. Young and spry. I'm old, Viking Bitch.
He is.
I crossed that one. Yeah, it's all right. All good. I like being old. It's kind of fun. Will Susan be back on Friday Night Tights this week? Jodi, yes. Susan will return. The bail money has been secured.
I think she evaded the Indiana police on the way back.
She did. Yeah, it's going to be more of a bail. It's going to be more of an extraction than actually a bailout, but we've got it handled. Thank you very much for your concern.
We have Delta Team 5 working on it right now.
Yes. Ancient Aliens, maybe if we can, we'll try, Jodi. We'll try. I think there's one more. So we'll give it a shot. I'm going to talk about last week's Ancient Aliens on the Nooner. So if you guys watch the Nooner, I'll be talking about last week's Ancient Aliens. All right, Dennis. Check out nerdrotic.com. All of our live streams are scheduled. Occasionally we do pop in with some news bits, like with Star Trek. We're really on top of the Star Trek Discovery lawsuit right now, the plagiarism lawsuit. Check out our videos for that. But other than that, Dennis has a Twitter. It's at DeForce. Mine is at Nerdrotics. We also have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. It's Nerdrotic Podcast, Nerdrotic Podcast Group. Dennis, take us out.
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you might end up divorced and working on a show together.
I should say a prayer, right? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Be good to each other, my children. Stay sinners.